So, I want you to imagine that you go out to a restaurant. I want you to imagine talking to the waiter and ordering a T-bone steak, rare, with a nice baked potato and some asparagus. I want you to imagine waiting about a half hour for your meal to arrive, and when it does, the waiter slams your plate on the table and reveals that it isn't the T-bone steak you were hoping for, but instead it's a big pile of steaming koala shit.
Well, that got out of hand.
That's what it was like watching episode 4 of Welcome to Derry last night, an episode that took all the momentum and positive direction of the previous episode, and decided to use all of that to drive off a fucking cliff by serving us koala shit when we were expecting a T-bone steak. You know, what we asked for. Ugh. Welcome to Derry, episode 4. Let's talk about it. Now, before some dumb fuck in the comment section says something like, well, excuse me, Toller Talks, you racist, bigoted, xenophobic incel, and whatever other stupid shit we like to say, this is the 1960s. Of course there's going to be racial tension.
Well, no shit.
I made my thoughts perfectly clear on this, right? I don't mind the exploration of racial tension, especially when it makes sense with the time, but when it becomes a distraction, or in this case, soaks up 20 minutes of the very limited runtime of this episode, while adding a grand total of nothing to the main plot, that's when it becomes an issue. For instance, Will being the oddball at school because he's black? Alright, whatever. Major Hanlon catching some racial flack from Junior Enlisted. A bit weird, but okay. Halloran creating a space for black service members to have for themselves. I mean, it seems kind of counterproductive to segregate yourself, but sure. But in this episode, we see Charlotte Hanlon trotting around the police station like she owns the place, threatening officers by saying she was going to call MLK and JFK of all people, just so she could question Hank Grogan where he was the night the kids were murdered, only for him to reveal he was fucking around with a married white woman and didn't tell the police because he knew he was going to be lynched.
Really?
What the fuck does any of that have to do with Pennywise? What does that have to do with the military operation, or any of the kids and their character development? What did all of that add to the main plot line of the series? Nothing.
You're right, you're absolutely right.
Well, nothing outside of it being a pain in Major Hanlon's ass because it could, screw up his very prestigious career with the Air Force, the very thing that puts a roof over his family's head and food on their table. Something Charlotte doesn't give a damn about because she's constantly conflating her civil rights work with his classified top-secret government job. And when he's finally had enough and Major Hanlon calls her out on it, she has the gall to say, "There's gonna be trouble wherever we go. That's the country you swore to defend."
Right.
And look, just like I'd be pissed off if I showed up to watch 12 Years a Slave and half of it was about the expansion of the Mongolian Empire in the 13th century, I'm pissed off that my IT show has been consumed by the civil rights movement and it adds nothing to the main plot.
Fair enough.
Is it just me, or was all this just completely unbearable? You know what? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll make sure to meet y'all down there so we can discuss it. Just keep the conversation intelligent and civil, because if you start name-calling, I'm not going to delete your comment or anything. I'm just going to call you an idiot because I'm pretty sick of the only defense being an ensemble of ist words. Anyway, and then there's Halloran's little, conversation with Taniel.
Fuck.
A large portion of this sequence pissed me the fuck off too, but it wasn't all doom and gloom. We got to see more of Halloran's shining ability, which allows him to manipulate and invade people's minds in order to extract information out of them. We also got to see some actual proper representation too, because this episode explores the Shokopiwa and their connection with Pennywise, both in the past and the present, something that I really enjoyed. We find out that they're female-led. They take Pennywise head-on in his own territory in hell. They even bring up that the tribe mostly fears white Christian settlers. Because you know what? That actually makes sense. That actually plays into the story they're currently telling, and it actually incorporates Pennywise's abilities, unlike what this self-righteous shithead was doing. However, with that comes even more issues.
Of course.
Instead of slow-dripping information to us, keeping Pennywise mostly ambiguous until some sort of grand reveal that could come at the end of the season, this episode decides to do a massive exposition dump, revealing pretty much everything in one big swoop, single-handedly destroying the mystique of the creature all in about a 10-minute time span. Now, in the book, we do find out Pennywise's origins. We find out that he came to Earth in a meteor during the age of the dinosaurs. The impact of his landing was what created the area that would eventually become Derry, so on and so forth. But that's not revealed until later on, something this show was doing but seemingly abandoned this episode. Instead of keeping the slow pace and revealing Pennywise's abilities and past like they've been doing with the kids and the uncovering of artifacts like the Bradley Gang Massacre car, they just dump all this shit on us at once because the plot needs them to.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
This show also chooses to downplay Pennywise's arrival to Earth by introducing the mechanic of a dagger that was forged from ancient stones within its lair, which keeps him trapped in the western woods. This is not anywhere in the books because it doesn't make any sense. Pennywise is actually a godlike interdimensional entity from the Macroverse, created before time and space as humans know it, and is capable of destroying entire planets, so reducing him down to this weak, vulnerable creature when he first arrived to Earth is a direct contradiction of the source material.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
As a matter of fact, so is the whole stone containment thing. Pennywise chooses to stay in Derry because he wants to. It's a breeding ground for the food that he needs, and he has almost complete control of the events and the people within the town. He doesn't have to expand because he doesn't need to. He doesn't want to. So coming up with yet another physical way to contain him, just like how they changed up the ritual of Chud in It Chapter 2, is yet another senseless contradiction of the book.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I don't know. I think this was the worst episode of Welcome to Derry we've gotten so far. We only got a little bit of horror, mostly surrounding Will, who I think is easily the most interesting character when it comes down to the kids, and then there was also this little dickhead.
Kill the little bastard, see what I care.
But most of the runtime was either about racial injustice, again, or throwing information at us at the cyclic rate when they didn't need to. Like I said before, please feel free to challenge me on this. Everything I've said is up for discussion, but, and I can't stress this enough, be intelligent. Make a solid argument just like I have, because there's always a very, very small minority of people that start slinging labels out there for the hell of it. And for what it's worth, I'm hanging in there, alright? I don't hate this show or anything, but if we're supposed to get multiple seasons, I don't know how in the hell they're gonna do that when they're already showing their entire hand. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for checking out my review. I'll talk to y'all later.